The inspiration for Anna Madrigal was initially a trans woman I discovered in Charleston, South Carolina. I didn't discover her. She lived there and she was a local character. But I had the concept by then. But when it came to creating the character, I relied on someone else, namely my grandmother, Margarite Barton, whose spirit was very much that of Anna. My grandmother lived when I knew her, she lived in Virginia, in Arlington, Virginia, in a little apartment complex. And my parents would send me up sometimes to stay with her for a week or two when they were off on a holiday or whatever. I don't know what the reasons were actually, but I was glad that it happened because I got a full dose of my granny, who was a very airy-fairy kind of person. She believed in reincarnation. She was an Episcopalian. She was an Anglican, but she believed in reincarnation and various beliefs that were prevalent in the early part of the 20th century in England. I loved being with her because she made all things seem possible to me. She read palms. She read my palm frequently and would often tell me what was going on, but not in a, she was a little mysterious about it too. She told me she thought I was the reincarnation of her cousin Curtis, her bachelor cousin Curtis, her very creative bachelor cousin Curtis. And so without actually spelling it out for me, she let me know she knew where I was heading. I have very distinct memories of Granny asking me what I wanted to be in life. And I told her that I wanted to be a lawyer like Daddy. And she knew that was a lie from the beginning. She knew that I didn't have it in me. But she sort of closed my hand. Well, she was reading my palm at the time when she asked me. She sort of closed my hand and patted it, like, we'll get back to that, don't you worry. She knew me before I knew me. That was the best thing to say about her. And the last time I went to see her in her rest home in Alexandria, I was horrified to realize that I'd been warned that she might not recognize me, and she didn't. I entered the room and I, said, "It's Teddy, Granny," and she sort of made polite conversation, but didn't seem to register on who I was. And I dwelt in a very morbid way on that for most of the visit, thinking that I'd lost her finally. And when words failed me completely, I ended up putting my hand out for her to read because she knew what that meant. And she took a look at my hand and she said, "Teddy, you're in your 30s now." And that was the best thing I ever heard her say, She knew me. And she knew me through my hand, amazingly. I shall never forget her. I never have. And I'm not alone in our family. There were a lot of kids I was the oldest of her grandchildren. So in some ways I was one of the few ones to really remember her, but there were others who loved her just as much as I did for their own reasons, because she sussed out what everybody wanted and needed. And she gave support. She gave me permission to be who I was going to be. I wasn't even aware myself that I was queer, but she seemed to know it early on. And and I'll always be grateful to her for giving me my permission to be myself at a time when I had very rigid rules at home in North Carolina with a conservative father. She was the person who showed me the way into the light, really. She had been a suffragist in England and actually toured for women's suffrage everywhere in England. I didn't realize until she was practically near death that she had never been married to my grandfather. They had left for America. He left behind a wife and family to be with my grandmother. I can understand it. I would have left anybody for her too. But it must have been a traumatic thing for everybody at the time. They settled in the mountains of North Carolina, which is how my father came to meet my mother. Granny actually got a job later on after she lived in Alexandria and my grandfather was dead, teaching elocution to Episcopal priests at the university there. I think she was perfectly suited for that because she was a brilliant public speaker and she knew how to tell these people how to do this. So when I had to create Anna Madrigal, I went for the sweetest person that I knew, which was my grandmother. And so many things were handy in the creation of Anna. The fact that my grandmother was used to read my palm and did a lot of spooky things like that. I could use her. My grandmother read the Bhagavad Gita, for heaven's sakes, which is Anna did. There are many, many similarities between my grandmother and Anna.
Is that the answer?
What's the question?
So I relied on my granny completely for the creation of that transgender character. I learned a little bit about transgender people from Dawn Langley Hall in Charleston. But Granny was the heart and soul, the spirit of her. And it was an easy thing to do. I knew there had to be some trans people out there that would feel the same way she would and behave the same way she did. So I didn't have to rely on a character that was unpredictable and unknown to me. She was the source of love for me, Granny, and remained so throughout her life. And now that I live in England, I feel another connection with her, that I'm in the place where she started out. And my entry into England was created because I got an exceptional talent visa. That's such an embarrassing name that I'm fond of teasing Chris that he's an exceptional talent spouse, which is officially on his papers. But it was because of Granny that I was able to get citizenship. So when I was sworn in, I felt that connection to her. On that last visit with Granny, she told me that she knew she was on her way out, and she said, but when I die, after that time, if you feel a little breeze in the room, you'll know that that's me. Well, I'd like to say I'd felt that breeze. I never did, but I connected with her to such a degree that I feel she's always with me. And she's especially with me in the character of Anna Madrigal. She makes herself manifest in that character. And I'm really happy about that because that means I'll never lose her. And it's also the way I have been able to share my grandmother with the world. So it makes me feel that especially good that people know what she would do under any given circumstance.
Do you have any objection to pets?
Dear,
I have no objection to anything.
Thank you for tuning in, or whatever it is you do. I guess it's not tuning in, is it? But I enjoyed talking to you today. And thank you so much for listening to my story about Granny.